In mid-September 2025, President Donald Trump asserted that critical media coverage of him is illegal, stating bluntly, "It's no longer free speech." These declarations come amid a surge of governmental actions and public rhetoric that many legal experts, civil libertarians, and media watchdogs interpret as increasingly hostile toward dissenting speech. Here's a look at what's going on, what's at stake, and what constitutional questions this raises. What Trump is claiming. Trump has repeatedly condemned media reporting about him, stating that when most stories are negative, or when media outlets are critical, that it goes beyond mere criticism. He says it becomes something illegal. He's argued that the press, television hosts, and other public figures who criticize him are operating outside acceptable bounds, especially when the administration believes the coverage misrepresents or attacks him unfairly. Some of the administration's rhetoric frames hate speech or critical speech as a target for legal or regulatory retaliation. These claims are not happening in a vacuum. Various decisions, policies, and executive orders suggest a trend toward expanded control over speech, or at least over speech that is politically inconvenient. Executive Order on Free Speech. On January 20th, 2025, Trump signed EO 14149, restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. The order declared that the federal government must not abridge American speech, including by colluding with third parties to censor disfavored views. However, critics say its language is vague and that actions since have undercut its promise. Targeting of media outlets and shows. ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live after controversial remarks about Charlie Kirk's killing. This followed statements by FCC Chair Brendan Carr, appointed by Trump, hinting at potential punitive actions, including license revocation, against broadcasters whose content he sees as excessively anti-Trump. There is also discussion of challenging or punishing outlets like CBS over what the administration sees as distorted reporting or editorials critical of Trump. Legislative, enforcement, and social pressure. There are reported calls from administration officials for employers to discipline or fire people, teachers, government employees, etc., who publicly criticize conservative figures or the administration itself. Conclusion. The recent claims by President Trump that negative or critical media coverage is illegal, and his statements like, "It's no longer free speech," represent more than just bluster. They align with a string of actions and policies that critics argue erode free speech protections. While much of this remains contestable, legally, politically, and socially, the tension between government power and speech rights is especially sharp now. This conflict is not only about what speech is allowed, but also about who decides, and under what authority. The constitutional guardrails are clear in many respects, but enforcement and precedent matter. Once limitations on free speech are accepted, they can become hard to roll back.